Daniel Hernandez had a hellish first week as an intern. He was interning with then Congresswoman Gabby Giffords when gunman Jared Loughner opened fire, killing 6 people and shooting Giffords in the head. Hernandez, who had prior medical training, ran to Giffords and held her wound with his bare hands until paramedics arrived.
I was working as an intern for Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords in the congressional office, and on the 5th day in the job, we had an event called Congress on Your Corner, which was an event that we held periodically so that people could get a chance to talk to the Congresswoman one-on-one. So it was a way for her to get a sense of what the community was needing or feeling was an important issue so she could take it back to Washington. 10 minutes into the event, we had a young man named Jared Loughner who came in with a semi-automatic Glock and in 19 seconds injured 13 and killed 6 people. I was about 40 feet away from where the Congresswoman was at the back of the line signing people in. I was essentially the gatekeeper, making sure that when people were coming in, we had their contact information to send them a thank you note for coming in. But when the shots were firing, I dropped what I was doing with the signing people in and ran to the front because I knew that with gunshot wounds, it would be a matter of seconds that could really make a difference.
Are you serious? So your first instinct, you hear gunshots, your first instinct wasn't, oh my God, I need to run. It wasn't to hit the floor. You immediately run to the front.
Well, it was the calculation of if I'm going to get injured, I'm going to get injured whether I am running towards it or if I stay here or even if I try and hide because we're outside in the open. We're in a safe way, essentially the parking lot. So I knew that the limited medical training that I had was probably more than those around me. And with seconds to spare, and I crossed paths with the shooter. So he was still firing when I was running towards the Congresswoman because I knew at that moment the most important thing was getting to those who needed the help quickly. Then when I got to Gabby, I noticed at first that it seemed like maybe she had taken a defensive position. But as I got closer, she had one severe gunshot wound to the head. She had started breathing in her own blood. So then the first thing I did was kneel behind her and prop her up against my chest to start clearing her airway so that she wasn't breathing in anymore, no danger of asphyxiation, and then I had to use my bare hand because, I'm working as an intern, I don't have any medical equipment to staunch the blood until the EMTs arrived.
Oh my God, and you had medical training?
Yeah, not much. To be fair, I was a certified nursing assistant. They don't teach you trauma or how to take care of someone with a severe gunshot wound when you're a certified nursing assistant or a phlebotomist. So this was way above my pay grade, but I knew that I had to do something until somebody else came in.
And you did something major. I mean, you saved your life.
It was a great kind of confluence of events where we had not just myself right away, we had EMTs, and then we also had a great trauma center in the city of Tucson, and in less than 30 minutes she was there and in surgery. So there were so many things that were working together that worked just right that were able to enable her to stay alive.
If you have to send a message to President Obama about guns, in light of your experience, in light of, as Ben points out, in light of everything that's happened, what would your message be to the president about gun control at this moment?
As a young elected official, I'm on a school board in Tucson, Arizona. The events of Newtown were really a big wake-up call. I had a op-ed come out in the Politico in light of what happened in Newtown, because for a long time I stayed out of this issue. I didn't want to politicize what had happened in Tucson. But then as time wore on and we saw shootings in Aurora, we saw shootings in Oak Creek in Wisconsin, I saw this pattern and I said, okay, I'm going to choose my time, and this is now when it hit so close to home. And it was the most vulnerable members of our society, was our children. And for me, as someone who serves on a school board and has to care for 19,000 students, that's when I was like, okay, this is the time to act. That's why I think what Gabby said is so important. Americans are counting on the Congress to finally act. It's not okay to keep passing the buck and say, this is too complex, this is too big of an issue, so we're not going to deal with it. So I commend the president for his actions in forming that task force.